This is a CBS 7 First Alert Weather Day. Now, an update from the First Alert Weather Center.
Well, we are still tracking what's left of Tropical Depression Harold across portions of the Edwards Plateau. Taking a look at the live radar right now, we are seeing that move in around the Del Rio area. The center of it here around Bracketville is where we're kind of looking at that. Moving off to the northwest quite a bit. Again, we are seeing the leading edge of all this with the scattered showers, thunder showers near Sheffield down towards the Sanderson area and starting to move in around Big Bend National Park. You can see the center of things again moving in across the Edwards Plateau interior, the brush country of South Texas right now with trailing showers and thunderstorms all the way back towards the Corpus Christi area. The winds, though, on it have calmed down quite a bit from what they were. And again, you can see that spin starting to move in and around the Big Bend area overnight tonight towards the 2 o'clock hour into the early morning hours on Wednesday. And that's prompted into the mountain areas for the overnight hours. But the good news is this system is going to be moving across rather quickly and should be clearing out towards the early morning hours. But nonetheless, accumulations of up to 1 to 3 inches of rain, causing possible flooding again in these areas. Again, looking at the rainfall totals here across portions of the Big Bend area, upwards to 1 to 3 inches is what we're looking at on the forecast there. Pretty quiet evening, lots of clouds out there, and we have seen some cooler temperatures. We're still into the lower 90s, but where we're really thickening up those clouds and have been dealing with a few showers, mid to upper 70s, right at 80 degrees at Panther Junction, but a cool 72 with the rain coming down in and around the Dryden area. So this system's going to move across rather quickly, so the heavy rain confined to the overnight hours.
Thank you, Tom, and thank you for joining us for CBS 7 News on the CW, and thanks for joining us live on the CBS 7 YouTube. I'm Mary Kate Hamilton in for Alexander Messia. Just after 2 o'clock today, ECISD confirmed a bomb threat to Permian High School was called in. Multiple law enforcement agencies responded to Permian for the second afternoon in a row. The district reports an anonymous 911 call reported a bomb threat at Permian. After law enforcement checked the perimeter of the school, students and staff were evacuated to the field. The inside of the school was also searched. No explosives were found. All students were dismissed at 4 p.m. from the football field. The district said in a statement, quote, Permian High School and district officials are angry and frustrated to have school interrupted this way. ECISD will continue to work with other local, state, and federal agencies to identify the person or people responsible for making these threats and prosecute to the fullest extent of the law. And we have new details on a story we've been following for you all year now. As you know, yesterday, Midland police identified the missing nonverbal man known as Cordarius as 24-year-old Cordarius Pegues from Midland. He was found alone in the streets of Midland in January. Because he is nonverbal, police were unable to identify him for almost 8 months, and no one came forward. That is until yesterday. Cordarius' mother, Charlotte Pegues, is facing a charge of exploitation of a disabled individual. CBS 7 obtained the arrest affidavit for Pegues. That reveals that back on August 9th, Midland police received a call from a woman who said she was Cordarius' grandmother. She told police that Cordarius had been living with his mother, Charlotte, in Midland. That was at the time of his disappearance. Police then looked into these claims and went to question Cordarius' mother. They learned that she was still receiving financial support for Cordarius, even though he was currently in a foster home. Police later searched her home, which court documents say produced nothing that showed she was supporting or caring for Cordarius in the way of clothes or toys. They also said there were hazardous and unhygienic conditions in the home. You can find the full arrest affidavit on our website. Just go to CBS7.com. The Midland City Council has approved their 2024 budget. It includes upgrades for infrastructure and city facilities. And while the city approved a tax increase, they can go back and lower the tax rate in a few weeks if they can find other areas to cut from. Most of the city council members agreed that being too conservative could have an effect on the future city council and residents of Midland. That's why most of them agreed to increase that tax rate. However, the city did recently announce that this month's sales tax revenue hit a record high $6.6 million. That led to council members not being on board with the increase.
Over $6 million that just came in. We're expected to be $11 million over. That sales tax comes from people that don't just live in Midland, but people that visit. So if we can help give the people that live in Midland a bit of a tax break, that's what they elected me to do, and I have to listen to the people that voted me in.
The total general fund is a little over $168 million. 53% of the total budget goes toward the Midland Fire and Police Departments, while the other 47% goes towards community services, engineering, development services, general services, and more. Some of the council members say cuts can be made.
Sales tax is not a reliable collection revenue stream in the way that property tax is for the city. And so if we're depending upon an unreliable revenue stream to balance our budget, then we need to make sure we don't have any wants in there.
Some of the other priorities recommended were making Midland a premier city in West Texas by using the funds to create a high-performing city team and creating a strong economy with more quality jobs. Ector County commissioners voted 4-0 today to approve their 2023-2024 tax rate. The way this tax rate is set up is 0.35 cents per $100 valuation. That is the same rate as last year. This tax rate will provide a 20% pay raise for jailers at the Ector County Detention Center and raises for the district attorney's office. Despite county workers getting raises, the plan will actually let the county save by filling vacated positions across the county.
But in reality, we're paying $75 an hour at times because we're going through a temp agency. So why would we not raise that pay up to what is an equivalent for an RN or an LVN in the market today and actually get that pay down and actually save the county money? And so we added strategic pay.
The district attorney's office will see strategic raises to address vacancies. In addition to the tax rate, a piece of state legislation allows counties with less than 300,000 residents in Texas to receive $500,000 for their sheriff staff, while the DA offices receive $250,000. And if you're making date night plans, how about a concert on Thursday night? Singer-songwriter John Ford Coley is coming to the Wagner Noel Performing Arts Center. Coley was part of the duo England, Dan and John Ford Coley. The duo is Grammy nominated and most known for the single I'd Really Love to See You Tonight. Coley says he's excited to meet West Texans.
And when you're telling stories, you're telling jokes, you live for that kind of response to find out whether you're going to be a flat bomb or it's going to be a pretty good night. So I just enjoy people so much. And also afterwards, we meet them. I love hugging people, so I'm always getting hugs and stuff. And that's really a nice way to end the evening.
He really was a great guy. For my full interview with John Ford Coley and ticket information, you can go to our website, CBS7.com. And the Midland County Commissioner Luis Sanchez announced his re-election campaign. Sanchez holds the Precinct 3 seat, which covers South Midland. Sanchez highlighted the achievements he's had as commissioner over the past several years, including road enhancements and grants to revitalize waterways in South Midland.
Our collective efforts have brought about significant progress here in South Midland, as you guys may know. We've made some substantial strides in enhancing our region, from improving roads to achieving the lowest county property tax rate in the whole state of Texas.
The election is scheduled for Tuesday, November 5th. And today marks 1 year since the passing of legendary Permian High football coach Gary Gaines. Gaines coached the Permian Panthers to the state championship in 1989, a year after the season chronicled in the book and movie Friday Night Lights. He later returned to Permian as the head coach from 2009 to 2012. Coach Gaines died a year ago today following a long battle with Alzheimer's disease. And Tropical Storm Harold, as Tom told you about at the start of the show, is the first named storm of the 2023 Atlantic hurricane season, and it made landfall in southern Texas on Padre Island, about 50 miles south of Corpus Christi. The storm is putting more than 1 million people under tropical storm warnings. The National Weather Service warns of wind gusts up to 70 miles per hour and multiple tornado warnings. The storm is expected to bring about 3 to 5 inches of rain, but some areas seeing as much as 7 inches. That's according to the National Hurricane Center. The tropical storm warning is in effect until tomorrow afternoon. And a battle over buoys in the Rio Grande moved from the border to a courthouse today. The U.S. Department of Justice is challenging Texas Governor Greg Abbott's authorization to put the large red buoys in the river to deter illegal migrant crossings. Emily Schmidt reports on the latest moves by both sides.
In some disagreements, compromise comes in the middle. But along the southern border, where Texas installed these buoys meant to deter migrants, middle ground may prove hard to find.
There were allegations, which I don't know if they were true or not, but allegations that the buoys had drifted toward the Mexico side.
The Department of Justice filed a lawsuit against Texas and its Republican governor, calling for the removal of the floating wall, arguing it was placed without federal authorization, and later saying a survey found about 787 of the 995 feet of buoys were in Mexico. Monday, as Abbott led Republican governors to the border, he said the buoys have now been repositioned.
Texas went back and moved the buoys into a location where it is clear that they are on the United States side, not on the Mexico side.
The buoys split opinions as sharply as they divide the water.
The buoys are a deterrent. They don't cause a Band-Aid, and if they do, I say, what the heck, stay on your side of the river.
1,000 feet of buoys, well, it may not seem like a lot to those of you out there in the public listening. The fact is, it pushes people into the deep water.
In a federal court injunction hearing Tuesday, U.S. District Judge David Ezra asked for written closing arguments by the end of the week so he can rule on whether to order Texas to remove the buoys. He said he would make a decision as quickly as he can. Emily Schmidt, CBS7 First Alert News.
An economic review of Big Bend National Park reports in 2022, 514,000 visitors spent a total of $48 million at or near the park. A huge support to those local economies near the park. The spending, in turn, fed 659 jobs near Big Bend and the Rio Grande. And the economic review reported that across the nation, national parks had a cumulative benefit to the U.S. economy of over $50.3 million. Still ahead, we talk about how investigations into the 2020 election is going to affect the 2024 election. That's next. Several of the 19 people indicted in Georgia on charges of trying to overturn the 2020 presidential election have turned themselves in to authorities. But the biggest name on the list of alleged co-conspirators will be heading to the Fulton County Jail on Thursday. Natalie Brand has more.
Attorney John Eastman, one of the alleged co-conspirators accused of trying to overturn the 2020 presidential election in Georgia, was processed at the Fulton County Jail Tuesday and released.
I am confident that when the law is faithfully applied in this proceeding, all of my co-defendants and I will be fully vindicated.
Former President Donald Trump says he will turn himself in on Thursday. He posted on social media that he's going to be arrested for, quote, making a perfect call, referring to the phone call he had with Georgia's Secretary of State urging him to find votes. Trump is facing 13 felony counts, including a RICO charge of conspiring with 18 others to overturn the 2020 presidential election in Georgia. Trump's lawyers agreed to a $200,000 cash bond to be released. He will not be allowed to discuss the case with co-defendants except through his attorneys. And as part of the agreement, he is also banned from intimidating witnesses, including on social media.
Nominating someone who's out on bail in 4 jurisdictions is not a winning formula.
Former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie is slamming Trump for his decision to skip the first presidential primary debate Wednesday. But these 8 candidates will be on the stage, hoping to set themselves apart from the rest of the field.
2024 is our moment of choosing. We are not going to get a mulligan on this one.
Florida Governor Ron DeSantis is Trump's closest competitor in the latest CBS News poll, but he trails Trump by more than 40 points among Republicans surveyed. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Washington.
Well, we did see an improvement in temperatures today thanks to these high-level clouds all associated with Tropical Depression Harold. And we'll talk about its impact on the Big Bend overnight coming up next.
This is a CBS7 First Alert Weather Day. Now, an update from Chief Meteorologist Tom Tiefertiller.
Well, as we take a look at observed high temperatures across the area, we did see those readings into the lower 90s out there today, so a big improvement thanks to some of the cloud cover that we saw across the area today. You get outside some of those clouds, look at that, 103 in Sweetwater and Abilene, and that's closer to that area of high pressure, so we're going to enjoy this for at least one more day. As we take a look at the West Texas view of the satellite and radar, you can see the cloud shield associated with Tropical Depression Harold that's starting to move in close to the Del Rio area. Expecting it to weaken quite a bit and just be a remnant low as it moves in across the Big Bend area, but a lot of this rain is going to be moving in. It's already on the leading edge here across western Pecos into Terrell counties, down into Brewster County. Again, seeing that it is not going to move much as a developed low pressure system much further than northeastern Mexico as it is on the downward trend, but the flow around this area. High pressure centered up across Missouri and Illinois. Well, that is going to bring the Gulf moisture across, and we're going to see plenty of that. But the bulk of the rain south and west of the Pecos River is what's going to be moving in. Here you can see on the big view again, this thing chugging off to the northwest, so expecting it to roll in overnight tonight. As temperatures across the state, hottest stuff was back over towards portions of north central Texas, up around 103 degrees. Now, taking a look at the West Texas Futurecast, we are going to be looking at, again, this system rolling across with the possibility of heavy rain rolling in around the Big Bend area and into Presidio, Brewster, and Jeff Davis counties. There's going to be some trailing showers, thunder showers with this across portions of the Permian Basin tomorrow, so scattering about a 20% chance of some showers, thunder showers in the forecast. But this is going to be a fast-moving system, so it's not going to dump a lot of rain, but 1 to 3 inches of rain is going to be a possibility across the Trans-Pecos into the mountain areas overnight tonight, and that could cause some flooding of some low-lying areas. So for the rest of tonight, keeping the clouds in place across the area as we'll have those temperatures drop down into the mid to lower 70s out there. And then tomorrow, best chance of isolated thunderstorms again south and west of the Pecos River, primarily overnight tonight across the mountain areas down towards the Big Bend, with just an isolated 1 or 2 in the forecast for tomorrow. But look at this. We're taking the very hot out of the forecast as temperatures look to stay below 100 all the way through the weekend. It looks like a weak cool front will move in early part of next week, and that could put a couple of thunder showers back in the forecast and keep these temperatures a little more seasonable across the area.
Still ahead, we look at a CDC study on mistreatment in maternity wards across the nation. The details from that study up next. In your health headlines tonight, a disturbing new report from the CDC finds 1 in 5 women reported mistreatment during maternity care. The CDC analyzed data from a survey of about 2,400 women back in April. The report found disparities by race or ethnicity, insurance types, age, weight, and perceived income. 30% of those reporting mistreatment were Black, followed by 29% Hispanic and 27% multiracial. Women with no insurance reported experiencing more mistreatment than those with private insurance.
We're talking about receiving no response to requests for help, being shouted at or scolded, not having their physical privacy protected, and being threatened with withholding treatment or made to accept unwanted treatment.
Doctors say treatment can have negative consequences for both mother and baby. The CDC says it is working through various initiatives to advance fair and equitable treatment during pregnancy and birth. And still ahead, I can't believe it's not butter, except it is. Up next, we take a look at the butter creations at the New York State Fair this year. Well, it turns out you can get pretty creative with 800 pounds of butter. Just take a look at this year's butter creations for the Great New York State Fair. Jim Victor and Marie Pelton have been creating the New York State Fair butter sculpture for more than 2 decades. And while it may look good enough to take a bite, this butter is not meant to be eaten. I don't know if I'd take a bite out of a stick of butter anyways, but it will not go to waste. That's nice. After the fair is over, the sculpture will be deconstructed and brought to a farm in western New York. There, it will be recycled to create renewable energy.
Okay.
I'm not sure how that happens. I'm not even going to ask how that happens, but I'm glad it's not going to waste.
I guess it takes some type of melting and then using the butter fat to produce energy somehow. I have to look that up.
Yeah, that's an interesting question.
But it's a reminder that it's fair season, and hopefully we're turning the dial on some weather here. It's been a horrible, horrible summer.
It really has, never ending.
Yeah, it's just, we had many triple-digit days. Well, it looks like we're not going to see too many of those here over the next few days. Still going to be a little on the hot side, but a little bit of a change, and watching out for a few showers and thunderstorms down in the Big Bend.
All right, thanks, Tom, and thank you for watching.